Today we're going to talk about how you overcome the I want to think about it objection at the kitchen table. Now to do this, I'm going to give you a little context, and then we're going to go through an oldie but a goodie video that I did probably 15, 16, 17 years ago with a fellow named Chris Pompilio, and I'm going to go through a role play video we did with him many, many years ago and kind of break down what he's doing and how he's learning to deal with the I want to think about it objection. So the first thing you got to know is that the intention statement is something that was developed originally by Tom Hopkins back in the day to overcome the I want to think about it objection. Essentially what it is an agreement between you and your homeowner that at the end of the conversation, they will let you know whether or not they want to choose you to move ahead with their project. And what it does is kind of create the expectation that we're going to resolve this tonight one way or the other. We're not going to drag it on into next week and phone calls and follow up and call back and all that. When you watch this video, you're going to see where he was kind of doing the upfront contract, kind of got him back to doing the intention statement, and then at the end, you'll see the results, the success that he had. So I'm going to roll with this video here. Just for some context, question number 12, the intention statement was question number 12 in Chris's home comfort survey.
I knew there were things I wasn't doing as well as I could, but I just couldn't pinpoint what they were. The only thing that I ask is that you just let me know either, yes, Chris, that sounds good, or no, that's not good. So all I ask is that one way or another, if you let me know if we're a good fit for you and your family, just let me know one way or the other. And no is a perfectly acceptable answer.
Let's write it down. Now that no is a perfectly acceptable answer is really important because it takes the pressure off of the homeowner. If you say, let me know if you can buy from me tonight, then they feel cornered, they feel trapped. If you say, let me know if I'm a good fit for you and your family, and by the way, no is a perfectly acceptable answer, by giving them permission to say no, they don't feel trapped and they become more likely to say, sure, we can let you know if you're a good fit.
Just let me know one way or the other. And no is a perfectly acceptable answer.
Let's write it down.
Well, what if I say no?
Well, no is a perfectly acceptable answer.
You were close.
Question 12 has got to be the most important question of the whole process. The way I was approaching question 12
way too aggressive.
Wasn't the way it should be. In my mind, I was being a little bit too aggressive with people.
Basically, what Chris was trying to do is to find out up front if they were going to buy tonight before he wasted any time on serving them. And in sales, you got to be willing to extend yourself emotionally and professionally, whether or not you get the sale, right? Tolstoy said that service is the true calling of all mankind. We got to be willing to serve our homeowners without knowing whether or not they're going to buy from us. And Chris wanted to find that out first, which is typical for very successful sales professionals, right? They want to know if they're wasting their time or not, but you got to be willing to extend yourself and do the work. Then you're going to find out if you get the deal or not.
Making sure that I was asking the question most of the time, but the way that I was asking it, I believe, was making people feel uncomfortable.
What are you feeling right now?
Uncomfortable.
Like you're badgering me?
Yeah.
That's probably how he's feeling too.
Yeah, I'm feeling like, come on.
Easy does it, cowboy.
Who's this?
Remember scalpel versus bludgeon. Scalpel versus a bludgeon. Very important. So what he's referring to there, he was taking the time to build a relationship, but then he would hit him in the head with that question, and it would tear down the trust that he had spent time building. That's why the intention statement has to be more like a scalpel, not a bludgeon.
After we had built the relationship with them, the way I was asking the question was actually tearing all that back down. So with the new way that I learned how to ask the question, it's a much more casual, smooth way of doing it. It just changes the whole overall feel of the presentation and really keeps the homeowners nice and comfortable. And I can tell you from just a few short hours, it's made a complete difference. I view myself as a HVAC design professional. And my job here today really boils down to three things: to design the perfect system for you and your family, to make sure that I answer all your questions, and that I get the price right. And the only thing that I ask, Doug, is that one way or the other, you let me know whether you feel it, if I'm a good fit for you and your family, and no's a perfectly acceptable answer. Fair enough?
Yeah, I can do that.
All right.
Watch the look of relief
Well, let me show you
on Chris's face
couple
here.
of things.
This cracks me up. Whew, it's over.
I would say for anybody who's considering coming out, the sooner you do it, the better.
Boy, I was a young
This
man.
has completely
Probably
changed my
45,
confidence.
46 there.
Regardless of how long people have been in the program, whether it's a short time or a long time, you can never stop getting better. It's an eye-opener. Having a beautiful wife and 2 young children, there's a lot of things that are important to them. Having their dad around is the most important thing. So this is going to help me have have more time to spend with them. No doubt it's going to equate into dollars and cents as well. I'm sure it'll make our company more profitable so we can provide the things, that the family really needs. And it's going to mean a lot to them. Find out those little things that make the biggest difference, and then get back home and start making some money.
Watch these numbers. So Chris, he really hit a wall. 27% in the months preceding coming out to advanced closing, which you probably need to do, come out for advanced closing. Over the 2 weeks following advanced closing, 67% close rate. Got back to what he'd been doing for a long time. He was an extremely successful, powerful, strong comfort advisor. He also owned the company, by the way. But, getting away from one of the basic fundamentals, and there are some core fundamentals that we teach in the sales training and in the advanced closing, like he was referring to here, we just do role play for a couple of days. But you really have to practice these things. The beautiful part about the intention statement is it very subtly creates the expectation with your homeowners, we're going to resolve this tonight, which is very helpful, because if you get to the end, they say, well, we got to think about it. We got to talk to our banker, my brother, whatever it is. You can simply use what I call the 3 most powerful words in sales, which are earlier you said. Earlier you said, Mr. Homeowner, that you could let me know today whether or not I'm a good fit. Now, of course, no is a perfectly acceptable answer, but has that changed? And when you remind them of what they said earlier, in many cases, they'll say, you know what, you're right, let's just go ahead and do it. So you may or may not need to overcome the I want to think about it objection at the end. But if you don't close this door, if you don't deal with this intention statement up front, then when you get to the end, you got nowhere to go, because you can't say, well, earlier I was supposed to ask you this question, but I forgot to, right? It's too late then. You have to lay the groundwork, close the door. That's the fundamental blocking and tackling of sales. And then if you need it at the end, you can use it. So the intention statement is a very, very powerful tool. But again, it is a scalpel, not a bludgeon. We don't want to beat people up with it. That's going to be the upfront contract. Now, you may be one of the few that can get away with that. I know a handful that can. But for most of us, we want to be more subtle. We want to be more professional, and we don't want to be a big red flag for people freaking out and say, well, no, I'm not deciding yet to buy. We want to just say, let me know if I'm a good fit, and no is a perfectly acceptable answer. When you ask it that way, most people will agree, and then most people will be accountable to that at the end and act in a manner consistent with their words. So if you're having a struggle, if you're having a difficult time overcoming the I want to think about it objection, and by the way, the I want to think about it objection comes disguised a million different ways. It can be, I'm going on vacation, I'll call you when I get back, or I got to take my dog to the vet tomorrow, or I got to talk to my banker, my priest, my mother, my father, my brother, whatever it is. It will come disguised a lot of different ways. The bottom line is, if they are asking to postpone the decision, that is the basic form of the I want to think about it objection. And regardless of what the specific excuse is, you can come back with, earlier you said you could let me know today if I'm a good fit. Now, no is a perfectly acceptable answer, but has anything changed in our time together? And they'll say, well, no, geez, nothing's changed. It's just a lot of money. I understand these are significant investments these days, but with your permission, can I start the paperwork? And because you reminded them of what they said earlier, in many cases, they'll just say, yeah, let's go ahead and do it. So that's how you deal with the I want to think about it objection. The intention statement, very, very powerful tool, but you got to use it for it to work.